Did you know that every word you speak matters? Are your conversations making a difference? With a passion for words and a heart for conversation, Teresa Velardi is a self-professed word nerd, best-selling author, BizCat 360 columnist, and publisher. Children's books as well as fiction and nonfiction books are welcomed at We Be Books Publishing and Book Endeavors, the imprints of her company, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Whether written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velardi.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference. I am Teresa Velardi, and welcome back to another hour where we always have interesting guests, interesting conversations that, of course, make a difference. We're live every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m., and you can hear the replays at 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern. You won't find me live at 5 a.m. Sorry, guys. You can listen to us on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network in your car, on your online phone, YouTube, and by asking Alexa to play Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. So for those of you who listen in on the regular, you know I always start with a prayer. So let's say the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it is by God's grace that we are fabulous, blessed, and highly favored, living in our greatness, using our gifts and talents, making a difference in the lives of others with passion and purpose, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. And we gratefully say, amen. So today we have two guests, and I'm sure you have seen one of our guests many times on her own radio station, on her own radio show called Dreaming Healing, and that's the wonderful Kat Kanavos. She's the host of Dreaming Healing, and she airs on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. And in the other corner, or wherever he is, we have the incredible Johnny Tan, who is an author, a social entrepreneur, experiential keynote speaker, life and career coach, a talk show host, and founder and CEO of From My Mama's Kitchen, a 501c3 nonprofit educational platform advocating personal success begins at home, the power of unconditional love, and living and performing in our genius zone. We're going to talk about that genius zone for a while here today, I think, to build a better world. He is also the publisher of Inspirations for Better Living, a digital magazine, owns the WordsHavePower.store, and is a multi-award-winning and best-selling author. Johnny experienced a spiritual awakening while writing his first book, From My Mama's Kitchen, Food for the Soul, Recipes for Living, honoring his 9, yes, I said 9 moms. And the book is about the power of unconditional motherly love and practical, timeless principles he learned from those 9 moms, his teachers, coaches, and counselors. He was awarded the prestigious 2020 to 2021 Top 100 Visionaries in Education by the Global Forum of Educational and Learning. It's also known as the GFEL, and is an executive contributor to Global Brains, BRAINZ magazine. You can reach Johnny at johnnytan.com. You can learn more at FromMyMamasKitchen.org, and you can hear him weekly on From My Mama's Kitchen talkradio.com. Johnny Tan, welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference. How are you?
Thank you, Teresa. It's been a pleasure to be here with joining two beautiful ladies right here. Kat, nice to see you. And I am totally blown away with the intro. Thank you so much for your kind words and so forth. I really appreciate it very, very much. And by the way, before I forget, this month is Women History Month. And tomorrow, as a matter of fact, is International Women's Day. So Kudos to y'all.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for announcing that for me. You took away one of my tasks on my list. That's awesome. Thank you. And so speaking of National Women's Day, International Women's Day, let's talk about your magazine first, because your magazine is written by women and you for women. And so let's talk about how you empower women telling their stories and lending their expertise to your online magazine, which is a great thing, by the way. And I'm sure Johnny's going to tell you how you can get a copy.
Yes, and thank you so much for that. Inspirations for a Better Living digital magazine is designed to help moms build a better future for herself, her family, and loved ones. When mommy is happy and excited, that ripple effect affects her family, her neighborhood, her community, and you know the rest of the story as far as that goes. The beauty of it is that the magazine is not about raising Junior. It was about the mom herself. And that's important because we all matter. And in this particular case, moms. And I'm doing this in honor of my 9 moms. And I've learned so much over the years from these wonderful ladies. They were my teachers, my coaches, my counselors. And this magazine, fortunately, over the years, and both of you ladies have contributed to the magazine in one of the past issues, as a matter of fact, in your area of expertise. And so what I've done is that the primary contributors of the various sections in the magazines are women. And for me, I write the publisher's notes. It's about our life story because people want to connect with real people, real situation, and they can see, I'm not there yet, but I'm so happy to hear and listen to others accomplishing what they have accomplished. And I know I can make it now. I'm not alone. And I think that's the beauty of the magazine because it helps people to really relate to other people. And so I'm very, very excited. I've been honored to have you ladies on and some really wonderful other ladies that were on the contributing their stories. And that's, to me, is the fascinating part about the whole thing.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of information in there. So I highly suggest that you seek it out, and we'll get you the link again before we close our time together today. But
and by the way, if I may just say, I'm so sorry about that. Like I should say, go to www.inspirationsforbetterliving.com. You can't miss it, and you'll get it right there. And we have a special offer at the end of the show for those people that listen to the end of the show. Teresa, you're welcome to share that wonderful gift that we have.
The surprise, Johnny.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Johnny's very generous, and you'll want to stick around to the end of the show. So I'm going to ask you another question. You had your first book called From My Mama's Kitchen, Food for the Soul, Recipes for Living. How did that come about? I know that you talk about your 9 moms, and we'll get to that. Most of us only have one, although we do have some women we call mentors in our lives, but you have adopted and taken on the role of son to 9 women who you call mom, and who have added to your life in so many different ways. And when you answer this question about From My Mama's Kitchen, the book, I want you to talk about how these women who are your 9 moms were part of that book that you created.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Well, it strictly started out as a guy thing out of selfishness. I'll be the first one to tell you that. What happened was, I think the year was 2000, in the late 2000, mid 2000. And so what happened was early 2000, as a matter of fact, 1999, 2000, my then Malaysian mom, my adopted mom, actually that's my adopted mom from Malaysia. She adopted me at childbirth, and she came and visited me. And whenever she comes, she stays for about 6 months. And me looking at, mom's getting old, and I don't know if she can make it next year, kind of thing. And I like all these food recipes. I need to start saving them.
So that's
So
what's
it's more out of
girl.
selfish. Yes. So that's what kicks it off. And I said, I'm going to collect the food recipes that I like. And I'm going to do my sister a favor in Malaysia. I'm going to put this whole thing together. So we call it From My Mama's Kitchen, Food for the Soul Recipes for a Living. Well, a few months went by, and then I thought about, I like some of the food that my other moms had cooked over the years. And I said, let me put all that stuff in there. So it's supposed to be a cookbook. Well, guess what? 7 years went by, it didn't get off the floor. It didn't get off the ground at all until my then 90-year-old Italian foster mom called me up, and she calls me up every year for New Year's. And she said, hey, by the way, I just want to find out, when are you going to finish this book? I'm like 90 years old. Are you going to finish it before I die? It's like, oh no. I said, yes, of course, definitely. Give me a chance to work on this. And so that April, I sat down and started writing. And before you know it, every night I would spend a couple hours and start writing, like, okay, wonderful. I started out, well, this mom's going to have a few recipes here and there. But what came out from the draft was not the food. It's about the power of their unconditional motherly love, the wisdom, the things that they taught me. And before you know it, I finished it in 9 months at the end of the year. And lo and behold, had I stuck with the food recipe concept, 3 of my moms would not have made it into the book, because remember, I was collecting the food recipes I liked.
So basically you made a cookbook for yourself so that you wouldn't forget the recipes that that you had gathered from these incredible women who you call mom, right? Yeah.
And then, but instead it evolved into From My Mama's Kitchen, Food for the Soul, Recipes for a Living. And it's about the recipes for living life.
Yes.
And so amazingly enough, I kept the title the same simply because I remember we have all those wonderful conversations in the kitchen. Sometimes I was helping them to, do things in terms of cooking. Yes, there you go. Oh, the kitchen table conversations were very much intimate. I remember, I don't know about you ladies, I remember when I get called into the living room, and especially with my full name, I'm in trouble.
I know that.
But in the kitchen, it's different. It's like more relaxed. You can talk about things, you can lay everything out and so forth. Yes. And that's the beauty of it, the warmth of that family, coming back to the basic thing, a family thing.
Yes. And that's the beauty of the conversations in the kitchen. Kat, you grew up in a different culture than Johnny did, and then I did. And so was the kitchen the center place of your family conversation as well?
I think being an Army brat, my dad was in Special Forces. He was a Green Beret. So we moved all over the place and went to all the different countries. And I think the kitchen is the heart of every single home. And Teresa and Johnny, I think that goes all the way back to cave people, that circled fire where they cooked their meat and they all gathered, because it's a gathering place of the body to nourish the body, but there is a heart connection in that gathering. So absolutely.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. So now you ventured on into something else, and Kat and I get the pleasure of being part of your process here. So Kat and I have Weeby Books, and Johnny and the two of us are going to be working on this project together. So let's talk about what you have upcoming and what you're collecting stories for now.
Well, things started at home, right? We all believe in that. And as you know, I talk about personal success begins at home and the power of unconditional love and so forth, and that we're living and performing in our genius zone. And lo and behold, as the years goes by, you start looking at things, and even in our own personal lives, apart from me, when I went out to do some book signing and so forth, of course, ladies love me. Say, oh gosh, you got a guy here talking about mom. What could be better, Hallelujah, right? But what surprised me what surprised me is the fact that men starts to buy the book, and they were thanking me, Johnny, I'm really appreciate that you wrote about this book. In my life, I had 5 moms. In my life, I had 4 moms, different ones. And there were a couple of times I remembered, once in New York and one in west of Texas, where I went, the wife had to remind them, oh, you forgot. So oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, that's my other mom. And so that caught me off guard, because then I realized that, it's not me alone. We just don't realize it. We take it for granted. And so that feeling, that movement evolves to what we have now, is that it's my passion to put it together in 2023. Of course, we're gathering all the stories, thanks to you two wonderful ladies helping me out. The title of the book is called World Greatest Moms.
Yes.
And the idea is for us to get as many contributors to talk about their moms, things that their moms have contributed in their life that, somehow, sometimes if we don't look back at it and really focus on it, we just kind of let it go by, and we don't really appreciate it until we find the time to really sit down and talk about it. And that's fascinating to me, because then you'd be surprised, regardless of what the relationship is now. Some of us, our moms have certainly passed on and transitioned and whatnot, but there were magical moments when our moms were there and you knew that it was just strictly a beautiful power of unconditional love. And so this book is about bragging rights. And it doesn't have to be from just ladies alone, and it's from men as well. World Greatest Mom, plain and simple. And my goal is from My Mama's Kitchen educational platform here is to publish a book of this nature once a year, is to give everybody a chance. But this premiere edition is going to be beautiful because this is the first time. And I know with the help of everyone listening, we can easily be the New York Times best-selling book whenever it comes out. And the reason is because there's no downside. We're talking about moms, y'all. That's it. The power behind everything, you see. And we don't think about it that way, but it is. It's true. They are the push when we're at a stop, a guide when we're rolling, you see, and the cheerleader inches away from the finish line. If you think about it, okay. What more can I say about that? Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And you know what? We're going to go to our first break. We have a break now, and then another one a little bit later on. And before I get involved in this next part of the conversation, let's go take that break, and we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. More with Johnny Tan and Kat Kanavos when we come back. And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. Okay, Johnny, let's talk about this. I think this is a great idea for moms. And I know I can think of half a dozen stories that I could contribute to this book, things that happened with my mom, traditions that our family had. I'm thinking like memorable moments, something that you laughed so hard about that it's never going to leave you, or something that you cried so deeply about, it will never leave you as well. So let's talk a little bit about the type of stories that you're looking for with this book that you're putting together.
Thank you for the question. I believe these stories are all about anything that you want to put in there. The times where your mom did something totally unselfishly, the times when your moms are there when you thought she's not going to be there for you, the sacrifices that she made. These are stories that is wide open. If you go to worldgreatestmoms.com, you can find out all the information that you want from that page. And it'll tell you all the information, what categories and so forth. the idea is that the categories gives you an idea to look into within your heart and find that story. And I know once you read it, you'll find that it's very easy. It's not something that we have to concoct something special of it, because it'll come naturally, because it triggers those beautiful, memorable, endearing moments that you can put down on paper very easily. Now, what I do want to let you know is that if you're a first-time author, no sweat, don't worry about it. We got experts that can help you to edit your story, so you don't have to worry about that at all. If you're an existing author, even a best-selling author, guess what? This is an opportunity for you to get involved with a beautiful project that you may not have thought about, honoring your moms. Yes. And think about this. This is truly about living a legacy of love. Mm-hmm. Because once it's published, it's there, y'all. Mm-hmm. Can't take it away.
That's right. That's right.
It's there. Yeah. So that's the difference.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. And then you recently contributed to a book that all of us, I gathered stories for people about gratitude, a daily gift of gratitude. And you contributed a story, and Kat, you contributed a story. Mm-hmm. We've talked about compilation books, and we've been part of compilation books. I know I have for a long time. I've contributed little bits of stories and whatnot. What do you think is the power, Kat? I'm going to ask you this question. What is the power and the impact that being part of a compilation book, do you feel, makes for somebody, especially a first-time writer? What do you think is one of the biggest benefits of doing that?
Well, that's a great question, Teresa. I think there are just so many benefits, because when you're a fledgling writer, you've got these fabulous stories you want to share, and yet you may have a very grounded fear of, how do I do this? How do I start? Where do I begin? How can I do a whole book, and who do I get to publish it, and how do I get it published, and who are the people? And it's like taking a big walk in the deep, dark woods at dusk. So by connecting yourself with people who have already done compilation books, already done their own books. Teresa and I both have published our own books. Johnny's published his books. By getting into a compilation book with authors who are already published, and with a publishing company like We Be Books, what happens is you have an umbrella in case it rains. You are with a group of people who have already done this, been there, done that, and are successful. And so in a way, it gives you breathing room to be the artist you want to be with your story, and know you have guidance. So anytime we find a compilation book, we encourage all of our authors to get in that book, because also the second thing is, there are two ways to be published. There are actually three ways. Completely self-published, and I never encourage anybody to do that. I won't even do it. I won't do it because it's just too tricky. You're jumping in the water with sharks while you're bleeding. That's the best way to describe it. If you don't get eaten, God reached down and plunked you out. The second way is hybrid. And that's where you are getting your story into a book. And if it's a compilation hybrid book, that means that all of the authors in that book are contributing just a small amount of money in order to get that book published. So you're not sinking tens of thousands of dollars into a book and then losing all that money because what you got was not what you wanted. And now you don't know how to navigate through Amazon and all the other links and be able to know how many books you sold, where did they go, where are they now? I mean, it's mind-boggling. So anytime you can get into a compilation book and get that guidance, especially as a new author, then you put that book on your website and you tell the world, I am a published author. And because you're with the compilation book and you've got multiple authors in that book and everybody's promoting that book, it becomes an Amazon bestseller. And so then you have bragging rights. I am a number one best-selling author. And you know, that's no small feat. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And then, you know, you and I both know this, Teresa, and you know it too, Johnny. Then what you can do is you can be writing your own book and make mention in your chapter in the compilation book that you were the author of this book as well, and that this chapter that you shared in the book is from your bigger book. And now you've really set yourself up to be successful without having to be afraid. And I remember I was very scared the first time I wanted to get my first book published, Surviving Cancerland. And the third way to do that is to go through a conventional publishing house. And what I found was they wanted to change my title. They wanted to change my stories. They wanted to go in there with a buzz saw for editing and change it all around to what they wanted, what was going to fit them, and not necessarily the message I wanted to share with the world. So I did hybrid for my first book and won 4 huge book awards: the Nautilus, the Women's International Book Award, the IPPY Book Award, and then I don't remember what the 4th one is offhand. It's in the book. So yes, you can be in a compilation book and win awards as well. Have that book become an award-winning book, or you can just do your chapter in a book leading to your hybrid book and win awards off of that. So I always only see it as a win-win situation, and I encourage it with everyone. I've been in them. You've been in them, Teresa. Johnny, you've been in them. I don't know of any really good authors who have not been in a compilation book. Johnny and I both have been in Chicken Soup for the Souls.
Yeah.
And it's amazing too, ladies, you know, where do we start? Do I start with my book first and then compilation, or do I start with compilation and then my book? For me, I started with my book first and then into compilations, because some people say, oh, well, gee, you know, since I got my book, I don't need compilations. That's not true, because what happens is that it's something greater. Like, that's why this book is a receptacle book. It is about honoring our mothers. It's honoring women in our lives. And let me point out, I was adopted at birth. So even that, respectfully, my mom was not my real quote unquote maternal mom, right? But she is a woman, she's a lady. She made a difference in my life for the first 18 years of my life, certainly because I lived with her in Malaysia until before I came to the United States. And then I was here for 15 years before I went home. And then that's when the other 8 wonderful women came into my life at different times in my life that became my surrogate moms, so to speak. And so having said that, don't get tied into the fact that, oh my God, yeah, you know, well, I was born by myself. I don't remember this. Actually, my grandmother brought me up, my aunt. Who cares? Who is the one that impacted you that you know confidently? Mom, can you help me? Mom, can I do this? And that's what this book is all about. It's about the power of unconditional love. And when you look back, this is something, it's not so much, it's funny because, Kat, and you know this, what I'm talking about, it's not about us, it's actually honoring our moms.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Because it goes, in one of the conversations I had in a different show, as a matter of fact, was interesting because, like, you know, there is a minimal cost, and you ladies know that because of this is a nonprofit organization, the cost, I brought it down to as low as I could to offset the, obviously the operational side of the equation, so to speak, to put the book together. As a contributor, can you just imagine you can be a #1 best-selling author for only $197? You can't beat that. Trust me.
Versus 10,000 somewhere else.
Precisely. And you ladies know more about that than I do. And you know, y'all can talk more. And you know that, you know, you see, so that is unbelievable. And then also what I did that is that, but just coming back to that, do you have to write a perfect chapter? If your story is good, if it's chosen, we'll help you clean it up. These wonderful ladies are here. They have a team that will help to really make you look good, because our job is to make you look good as an author. It doesn't matter who it is, whether you're a guy or a girl or whatever. And then also this book does, because being it's a premier book, so premier edition, I added something else special in it because I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to really kick it up a notch, to be a founding angel sponsor for an additional $100. Now, don't forget now, we are doing all the marketing for you from My Mama's Kitchen organization. If you don't know me, Google From My Mama's Kitchen, and you'll see we're everywhere. My radio show, I have amassed over 1 million listeners. I've been around since 2009. And just to give you a snippet of that, and it's not about bragging, it's kind of let you know the things that are behind the scenes that can help you as an individual. And all you did was contribute a story. And it's not about me, again, it's about you honoring your moms and yourself to be in this wonderful, to be part of this wonderful project. And this is global, by the way, y'all. This has got nothing to do with just, I live in Texas, got nothing to do with World Greatest Mom from Texas. This is global, and we want it that way.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a quick question, Teresa, just before we get into the next part, because somebody had texted me this question. And it's actually for Johnny. Johnny, what about Mr. Moms? Like this person texting me says, my mom left. I didn't really have my mom, but my dad was my mom. So what
Perfect.
if the kitchen was from a Mr. Mom? And right away when I read that, I thought of Mrs. Doubtfire. Remember with Robin Williams in the kitchen setting her boobs on fire? So what a story that would be. So what if somebody doesn't necessarily have a message from their mom, but what about their Mr. Mom?
Perfect. And I'm so glad you asked that question. Years ago, in one of my From My Mama's Kitchen talk radio show, Kitchen Table Conversations, right? I have Mr. Mom on. That particular month, we focus on Mr. Mom. And you know, what's interesting about that, it is not so much as like you say, you know, mom left and dad became my mom and so forth. And of course, there are plenty of stories that way. But this one was interesting because, as you know, now there are 2 breadwinners in the family, right? Who earns the bigger income. And it so happens that the wife is making the big bucks. The husband is not making that much money, but at the same time, he can work from home, see? So he actually became the role reversal because he ended up doing, because of his, and he makes good money too, don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about the fact that he's that entrepreneur that can work from home. So he doesn't need to go 9 to 5 kind of thing. So he ended up being Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect scenario.
They just share, you know, my husband, you're gonna do dinner Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm gonna do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we're going out. So, you know, you might have some fabulous recipes from Mr. Mom. One of your favorite dishes that your dad made. My dad used to make these incredible German liver dumplings. I mean, I can chase my husband around the house with a liver dumpling. He won't touch it. It was one of my favorites. You just make these liver dumplings and you put them in chicken broth, and I can eat those till they come out of my ears. So I remember that, and he was the only one that made them. Mr. Mom Day.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So it could be a recipe for living or a recipe for food, right?
Yes. I think, you know, the beauty of it, I think there's a wonderful flavor, you know, that overlaps, because when you talk about World Greatest Mom or Mr. Mom, right? My dad or my mom, it is wide open. One cannot, and that's why when you go to worldgreatestmom.com to look at the suggested topics, so to speak, it gives you an idea. It's not that you have, oh my God, I have to confine myself to this. No, not at all. What it does is that, ladies, you know this, we're good at triggering thoughts in people so that they start thinking, say, oh my gosh, I can do this, I can write that, and so forth. That's what it's all about, because the topics, that suggested topics, are more for empowering you to start thinking and going and so forth. And that's the beauty of it. And then if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email and we'll talk about it. But I can assure you, you'd be surprised that, you know, the answers that you want to find is all right there. But we're here. In the end, we're here to help you.
Yeah. We all are. We're here to help you. And so one of the other things that I wanted to say about the power of being in a compilation book is whether you're a seasoned author or you are a first-time author, compilation book is a really good way to get your feet in the water, test the waters, if you will. And so writing a short piece that will go in a book with all these other authors who may, some of them be big name authors, and they will bring you along for the ride as part of the book. And that's how you get to wear the title of best-selling contributing author. The other thing is that it gets you in front of a lot of different people who may not be your quote unquote genre, your normal place where you would be. It gets your book out into the hands of people who you don't even know. And if you are someone who's looking to be a writer, be an author, have your own book or whatever, this is going to get your stories in front of the eyes of people who could potentially help you along the way to get to the next step of your authorship. So it's a huge, huge, huge asset for anybody, whether you're a seasoned author or whether you're just beginning. This is a great way for you to get involved with with this book and any other compilation book that you might be interested in. We just that's exactly how this Daily Gift of Gratitude happened. This is a series that's coming up, and Johnny's going to write something for the next one. Kat's going to write something for the next one. It's called A Daily Gift of Hope. So we're going to collect stories of hope. So when you're thinking about where you can be seen, look at these writing opportunities, and we'll post them on Weeby Books. So I've just learned that we have to go to another break, and we will be right back.
These shows go so fast.
I know, right? It's like the hour, it seems like 10 minutes, and the next thing you know, it's like, okay. Anyway, let's just take a break. We'll be right back with Johnny Tan and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. We'll be right back.
Being healthy and happy. Do you consider the 24 areas of your life? Probably not. With the All Things Wellness Wheel, you become self-empowered, allowing you to make healthier decisions about relationships, nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress, and even your value system. The All Things Wellness book series, written by Peggy Wilms and Dr. Marcus Bettstein, teaches about the ATW wheel and brings dozens of true and personal stories from real people. The first of these multi-author books, The Fourfold Formula, features the foreword written by the Celestine Prophecy author, James Redfield, and is now available on Amazon. Reserve your spot now to become a published author in Book 2, Win the Wellness War, We Are Responsible. Visit allthingswellness.com/author for more information.
In a world facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust. To learn her astonishing secret, Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back. Yes, let life flow. I love that. It does. And that's how you let your writing flow too. When you get in the zone, it's to just keep with it, because you never know what's going to come out of you onto the page. And it's always a surprise for people who experience that for the first time. It's just really interesting. So Johnny, you also, besides these two books, you have your radio show, and you also are an executive contributor to Global Brains, BRAINZ magazine. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
That magazine is for entrepreneurs, business people, from a corporate standpoint of view. And what it does is that we as professional contributors, we contribute stories about how we do things. My own personal background being formerly in the C-suite itself. I was chief operating officer for my organization. At 33, I had actually helped to grow my organization from 5 restaurants to 25 restaurants before I left to start my own business. And so it's sharing our knowledge in a nutshell, basically, on how to be in situations where, because we learn from other people. And so the Brains magazine allows all the executives to have a chance to read about other people's successes and things. And it's also good for business owners that are wanting to learn things that, they have never encountered before. Like I said, we all learn from everybody else.
Right. Right. But we each have our own, as you say, genius zone. Let's talk about how to define genius zone. Yeah, say it. Genius zone for me.
The genius zone. Okay, here is where curiosity turns chaos into peace.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
That's the first part of the equation. That is that clarity creates a creative mindset, right? And from that creative mindset also triggers the courage to act with quiet confidence. That's a big difference now, because now you're confident, you know what it needs to go on. And then living in the moment allows us to celebrate the various successes as it occurs. And when we do that, that feeling of harmony, joy, and success inspires us to continue to dream, achieve, and become.
Awesome. I love the first part of that whole thing. Curiosity turns chaos into peace.
Precisely. Because what happens here is that, and if you think about it, and I say this with full respect to all our listeners and whoever is out there and so forth, and you ladies as well, it's not about having 3 PhDs to be a genius. To give you an example would be, my mom grew up during the era of, when you're old enough, kitchen 101.
Okay.
She was in the kitchen at 6 years old. But you know one thing? So she never had a chance to learn about school and all this. I can tell you this much, though. My sister and I can't fool her, because my mom taught herself what an A looks like, a B looks like, what a C looks like, what a D looks like. She couldn't care less for E, because it's irrelevant. She knows what F looks like. And then she couldn't care, GHIJK, who cares? Because you know what? Every month when we come back from this, our school, right? We brought the report card. She knows what an A looks like.
She only knew, she only needed to know the grades that you were getting.
Precisely.
So,
you can't snowball her on that one.
No, the heck with the rest that follow.
Yes, and she knows at that time, of course, they use coding and all that kind, certain codes. She knows red means you fail. Blue means you pass. So you can, well, Mom, it's like, yeah, really? Sit in there. Don't come out until you finish reading that book.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about it is that beauty of things that is within us that we don't realize. That personal success begins at home. That curiosity turns chaos into, peace. Because I'm curious, how do I really bring up my kids? I'm embarrassed because my mom, my kids will be asking me, do you know this? No, I don't. No, you can outsource biology. You can outsource math, okay? But you can't outsource soft skills. You can't outsource value.
Yeah.
That's where the mom is the CEO, if not the CEO of the family, plus the best teacher you could have. Just think about it. When we were growing up, who taught us those things? Who taught us the proper decorum, the mannerism and all that? Our moms did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My mom taught me cursive. She taught me how to write the number 8. That used to just totally boggle my mind. And it was around and down and close it up. I remember it to this day.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that people can bring to this conversation. This conversation that's going to be between the cover, front and back in this book. And give the title of the book again.
World's Greatest Moms.
World's Greatest Moms.
Yeah. And what's interesting about, like I say again, if there's one book I can assure you all, y'all may say that I'm overly confident, but I know if we do it right, it will be a New York Times best-selling book.
Okay.
There's no downside to this. Because we're celebrating mom. Hey, guys, the ones that, watch football, what would the player would say? Oh, who do you want to say hello to? I want to say hello to my mom. Nothing about dad who threw the ball at him all these years. It's about mom. It's like, wait a minute, you forgot about me here.
That's so true. That's so true, Johnny. You never hear them say their dad. They're always like, hey, mom,
And so this is an opportunity. What happens from my mama's kitchen, I believe that it's time for us to champion, to come back to the fundamental things like what I like about Kat, what you're talking about, it comes back to even to the caveman. If you think about it very carefully, this is, like what my mom would say, great, wonderful recipes for living life is, evergreen. It gets modified and refined by generations, but it's still the same.
Yes.
They never change. And this is what it's all about. And each and every one of us, sometimes we take it for granted. We don't think about it. But if you look back, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think at the bottom of every conversation about a mom, memories about mom and whatnot, and family and the kitchen, there's one common denominator that is universal, and it's a 4-letter word, LOVE. That's what ties this all together. So, and what better way to bring goodness and hope and gratitude and great stories to the world than in a compilation book that is honoring the one who brings you into the world and loves you like no other. The love of a mother for a child, whether you birthed them or whether they were, Marianne Williamson used to say, I heard Marianne Williamson say one time that pregnancy is only oven duty. that the children will come to you regardless of how they come to you. If they're meant to be in your life, they will be in your life. And
Yeah.
and it's just a beautiful thing. And so love is universal. Love has no boundaries. But we're coming short on time here. We only got a few minutes left. I want to, if you wouldn't mind, give everybody, while I bring up this gift that you are giving to everyone, give everyone the website where they can go to learn the details of how they can be part of World's Greatest Moms. Johnny, would you do that?
Sure. Everyone can find out more details to the exact whatever questions we'll answer, or whatever questions you have, by going to www.worldgreatestmom.com. That's with the S, worldgreatestmoms.com. And you'll have all the questions answered there. And if you still have any more questions, there's even an email address that you can certainly send me an email, and we'll go on from there.
Okay. And let's talk about your gift that you're giving to anyone who would like to receive it. It is theirs for the taking. Let's talk about that.
That is the Inspirations for Better Living digital magazine. Mm-hmm. It is available at inspirationsforbetterliving.com. And I don't have the free gift code on me. I don't know if you can pull it up with you. I emailed that.
I have
fantastic. So use the e-code, and you will get the current edition for free, plus the 11 upcoming editions. Plus, I believe it's about 26 or 27 more copies of back editions that you're going to get since we put this magazine together. The magazine was first introduced in May of 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. No, I'm sorry, 2021. It's been a year now. It's coming up to 2 years. And so we're so excited about it. And like I say, again, this is about giving something to y'all, and you will see wonderful stories that will inspire you. And that's what I want to do. So go ahead and share the code to them.
So once again, that website is inspirations with an S for betterliving.com. And you can go to the coupon where it says coupon code. You might want to write this down. And I'm going to actually, if it's okay with you, Johnny, I'm going to paste it in the comments in the YouTube video once we have it up on YouTube. So here's the code: 4Q9AOAOWEBR 0. So if you've written that down, you can go to inspirationsforbetterliving.com, and you can go ahead and get your free magazines. There's 21 issues there for you to peruse through. One that Kat wrote in, one that I wrote in, and Johnny writes in all of them. So you'll get a chance to see what he's all about as well. And there's great stuff. Advertisement for his store, where there's beautiful things that you can wear, beautiful things that you can hang on your walls, all of them positive and really bring a warmth to your heart. And that's what I love about you, Johnny. You've got this unbelievable, your heart is always exposed to everybody. You just have, you're generous, you're kind, you're giving, and I'm excited for everything that's ahead for you with this book. And I'm blessed to know you. So Kat, I want to thank you for making that introduction for me and Johnny.
Oh, Johnny's the kind of guy you just want to pass around in a good way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, ladies. And for all of you listeners, like I say, the gift is for you. It's my spring gift to you. And, my goal is to contribute to your happiness. Yes. To me, that's the most important. When you're happy, I know that ripple effect will take care of itself. Yes. So when you go to that site, Inspirations for Better Living, and you click on the full magazine to subscribe, the first thing you need to do right there, you're brought to JUMAC, that's the platform, and you need to create an account. What it is just a reader's account. In a nutshell, basically, you're creating your own private library shelf. Yes. Because we have back issues and we have forward issues. So you got to do that first. And then once you do that, voila.
And one last thing before we go, because I'm gonna have to close this up pretty soon. Where can people listen to your show, where you have over 1 million listeners to your show? I know it's from my mama's from my mama's kitchen talkradio.com. When do you air? What's the?
Every Wednesday morning from 10 to 11 Central Time.
Central Time.
Yes.
Wednesday mornings, 10 to 11 Central Time.
Central Time, yes.
Okay,
It's an
awesome.
hour long from 10 to 11, and listen to it. You'll be surprised. And I'm booked 3 months ahead of time, and so I have some wonderful guests, past guests. Believe me, I had even had someone, the gentleman that invented our cell phone.
Wow.
Yeah, he was
Interesting.
on. Yeah, and he actually also contributed a story to Inspirations for Better Living on Father's Day back in 2021, in June of 2021.
Look at this. See, hang out with this guy. You'll get to meet all kinds of interesting people. Johnny, thank you so much for being my guest. Kat, thank you once again for joining me. We're going to have
Thank
to say
you.
goodbye for the moment. And I hope that everyone who's watching, the conversations that you're having, I hope they're making a difference in the lives of the people who you are blessed to touch. So until next time, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Thank you for listening. And thank you to our producer, Rachel, and to our station owner, Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.